That's why he introduced a Mansabdari system. By this system, the Rajput rulers were allowed to govern the internal affairs independently while the outside threats will be taken care by Akbar. And each Rajput prince will be given a military rank which determined their status, power, prestige and capabilities within the empire. And these Mansabdaris would receive a monthly income, part of which they would spend on their personal expenses, while the other part will be spent on maintaining a certain number of horses for their military rank. But there was a catch. Apart from all this, a Rajput prince also had to show respect to the emperor, recognize his authority and pay a yearly tribute to the emperor as a sign of his loyalty. But the important thing to notice here is the alliance between the Rajput Mansabdars and the Mughals didn't require the marriage of Rajput women to the emperor. The idea of the bridal alliance where the emperor would marry a Rajput princess was not a condition. Suddenly, the entire world started talking about this Indian man almost a century after his death. Do you know why? Apparently, the scientists figured out that the mysterious formula written by this man on his deathbed 100 years ago now explains the behavior of black holes. The surprising part is, the very concept of black holes didn't even exist at that time, but this man figured out the formulas of it. How was it possible? In 2012, American mathematician Ken Wono came up with a groundbreaking mathematical formula to study black holes in an entirely new way. And do you know how he figured it out? By studying a single paragraph written by this Indian mathematician almost 100 years ago while lying on his deathbed. It was situated at a point where Gomati River and Arabian Sea meet. After the death of Lord Krishna, this ancient city was submerged by sea and this was witnessed by Arjuna. To this day, Dwaraka is still one among the prominent pilgrimage sites in India. But what we need to establish here is, Dwaraka is not just religiously important but also archaeologically significant. The excavation of Dwaraka is the most important archaeological excavation happened in the 20th century. Those who don't know, there's a 1,000-year gap in the history of ancient India. We don't know what exactly happened after the decline of Harappan civilization and before the emergence of Buddha. And this excavation of Dwaraka filled that empty space. The first archaeological excavation of Dwaraka was conducted by the Deccan College of Pune in 1963. They excavated around the outside walls of the Dwarkadish temple and they published a report in 1963 where it was clearly established that the present Dwaraka is minimum 2000 years old. Our archaeologists proved that Dwaraka, the city built by Lord Krishna himself, existed exactly the way it's described in Mahabharata, the great epic of India, which is always being ridiculed as mythology. Why the hell none of us are talking about it? Is it really just left out casually or has it been hidden intentionally? Obviously, the media doesn't care. The government is not spending enough on archaeology. The least we could do is spreading the information which were proven evidentially. I think it's high time for us to reclaim our lost identity. We have no records of any Mughal princess marrying Rajput men. Only Rajput women were married after Mughal. If we have to see how the marriage happened, there's hardly any records of the rituals and customs followed in the marriage ceremony. And if we particularly see the marriage of Akbar with the Rajput princesses, each time the historians of Akbar's court simply state that the particular Rajput princess was admitted into the Mughal harem without elaborating further on the marriage ceremony. When Akbar married the niece of Raja Kalyanmal of Biganer, Akbar's historian Badani simply said she was admitted into the imperial harem. In another instance, when Akbar married the princess of Jaisalmer, he did not even personally go there. Instead, he sent Raja Bhagwandas to bring the lady to the palace. In this case also, it is simply mentioned that she obtained eternal glory upon entering the female harem. But let's not forget that Prince Salim, the son of Akbar, who later became Jahangir the emperor, also married Rajput princesses, and we can see totally a different pattern in Jahangir's marriages. If we have to see how the marriage happened, there's hardly any records of the rituals and customs followed in the marriage ceremony. And if we particularly see the marriage of Akbar with the Rajput princesses, each time the historians of Akbar's court simply state that the particular Rajput princess was admitted into the Mughal harem without elaborating further on the marriage ceremony. When Akbar married the niece of Raja Kalyanmal of Biganer, Akbar's historian Badani simply said she was admitted into the imperial harem. In another instance, when Akbar married the princess of Jaisalmer, he did not even personally go there. Instead, he sent Raja Bhagwandas to bring the lady to the palace. In this case also, it is simply mentioned that she obtained eternal glory upon entering the female harem. We know since Akbar's time, Rajput princesses were married after Mughals, but we hardly know anything about how their life looked after marriage. What were the rituals done during the marriage ceremony? Did they manage to balance their traditions, or were they forced to convert after marriage? And were they equally treated by the Mughals in the palace? Let's find out today, and don't come to a conclusion before watching the end.